everybody, and welcome to the Gamesline podcast. Hello. It's me, John. I'm here. The editor-in-chief of Gamesline, as well as the host of the podcast. I'm in charge of that stuff, because those are things that other people don't want to do. I mean, I like to do it, so it's okay. We have Rose here with me. The Mega Powers. We're here.
Yeah, we're here.
So I have kind of thrust the Mega Powers name upon us. Are you the Hulk Hogan of this, or are you the Macho Man of this conversation?
I think I'd rather be the Macho Man, I think, ethically, but I'll be honest, maybe his ethics aren't that much better.
I don't remember, maybe, but
it's probably better than the Hulkamaniacs, but
that's true. Look, here's the thing. I know that it's impossible to separate the art from the artist a lot of the times, especially when it's just a dude who's throwing his own body around the ring. But like Hulkamania is so funny. Of course, fuck off Hulk Hogan as a dude, Terry Bollea. But like, I don't know, I can fuck around and go, let me tell you something, brother, and laugh a little bit, you know.
You are definitely likely to get lost in the mists and go, there's no Hulkamaniacs here.
There's no Hulkamaniacs here. Ouch! It's not hot. God, he really did just get like sucked up into another dimension, and they just like just dealt with it.
Those were the days.
We need more of that in wrestling. Like, look, I don't watch wrestling that much, but like, you know, I respect the craft. I think that there's a lot of cool people doing it, especially these days. But we need more people getting like turned to stone or like teleported, or you know, like
it's
lightning
just like they don't even pretend to kill people anymore. You know,
exactly.
Like what's the fucking point?
Exactly. Again, I do not condone almost anything the man has done, like, at all. But the fact that Vince McMahon once booked himself to wrestle God, and God was just a spotlight that went down the ring, down to the ring, that's funny as fuck. That's really good. We need more stuff like that, is what I'm saying. Anyway, this is not Deadlock or whatever. This is the Gamesline podcast, and gaming occurred this week. It could be argued that some of the most dire gaming news of all time occurred this past week. Genuinely, I don't want to overstate things, but like, fuck, dude. Yeah. Man, like, okay. I want us to have as nuanced a conversation about this as possible, because, you know, we are people who, like, I'm someone who collects video games. I like physical copies of games. I don't know how invested in physical copies you are overall. You know, like,
I am the Gamefly subscriber, so I am very dependent on them.
Okay, so it's less that you like to collect it, it's more just like the big way that you interact with games is that you are getting physical copies from Gamefly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this past week, let me see the exact day here. The 1st of July, so about 5 days ago, based on when we were recording, Sony just dropped, hey, we're not gonna make new discs anymore. January 2028. No more discs, physical discs, for PlayStation consoles. In general. So that's PS5, I guess PS4 as well, and also, you know, they haven't officially announced their next console, but it seems like they have pretty much just said straight up, yeah, the PS6 isn't going to have a disc drive here. And also around that time, some other, like, some leaker type folks were saying, like, yeah, this is kind of what's lining up with what I've been hearing about the Helix as well. And there was another leak, like, a day or two later that said that Microsoft is trying to figure out how to do a system where your old you can, like, stick a disc into your Xbox Series or Xbox One or whatever, and it'll scan it and then give you a digital copy, and then as long as you don't scan that disc again, you could just keep that digital copy, basically. So
Which
if you just
they've kind of done before, right? Like, you
maybe?
or at least they were trying to. I can't remember. I just remember with the Xbox One, their whole thing was like, we're going to start doubling down on the 360 backwards compatibility to some degree. And they were like, we're thinking of making a thing, I think is what it was. And they never ended up doing it, maybe.
Right. But yeah, the real, this is one of those things where, some people were hoping that they were going to walk this back, maybe if there's enough pushback. I mean, there's always a chance, but there are also reports out of Austria, which is where the disc manufacturing factories are. Apparently, the factory there is already getting turned into like a different kind of factory. Like, they're going to be making micro lenses now.
So I was reading a bit more into this, and it's a case of they have been making micro lenses there already for quite some time, starting in like 2024, I think.
Right.
And it's this thing where now it seems like they are just leaning more into that even, instead of just being fully turned. So it's like a lot of factories are consistently retrofitted or changed. Like, there's a lot of places that, like, create contacts as an example, that pivot to other things that use the same tech as the markets change. But it's really silly. I don't like it.
Right. Yeah. So another thing that I have seen, though, is that there were some reports from third parties. I don't think it was anything specific. I think it's been like, people from third party companies talking to journalists under the table, basically. But it sounds like Sony has told them that if they want to order more physical copies of games that came out before January 2028, they can do that, but they can't ask for any that come out after January 2028. So, like, if Capcom wants them to print more copies of Pragmata in 2028, they can do that. But if some other game, comes out after that.
Because, I mean, I don't know if they just finished selling through their Final Fantasy IX stock that they reprinted in like 2011 recently.
Right.
And it's like that's something that a bunch of, especially in Japan, they do like all the time, just reprintings.
I hate this, obviously, like in practice. They also announced on the same day that they're shutting down the PlayStation 3 and Vita stores in 2027, which I don't think is a major deal. Like, I don't think that there's that many people using those stores day to day these days. And
a lot
also,
of that stuff's archived now.
Most of that stuff is archived, and PS3 emulation is extremely good now, and you can hack your PS3 and Vita really easily. But really, it's more the for the future, for the PS6, as it were.
And
because, yes,
they are also the people who have been testing out dynamic pricing recently, which is
that's right,
like such a nightmare kettle to combine all of this into. Of like, yeah, I bet you want it to be all digital.
Yeah, I saw a post that was like, yeah, this is 100% why Sony's doing this, and it was like a screenshot of the digital store for Spider-Man 2, and it's full price, and then you look at used copies and they're $20. It's like, yeah, that's why they're doing it. And it fucking sucks, because that money isn't getting given to anyone that made the games, This is just... So... Yeah, it's very worrying. I don't know what's gonna happen, because again, like, there is a pretty large backlash against it, but I don't know, like, because they can just keep saying that not enough people are buying it, which
which we know isn't true.
It's not true
broadly.
because so there was there was a leak semi recently that showed that digital and physical is close to 50-50, like straight up.
Yeah, because I remember 2 years ago when everyone started talking about this push for digital only and like how it makes sense, blah blah blah. And it was like, okay, and how much is physical sales? And it's like 68%. And it was like of course it's going to keep going down, but it's like that's more, you know, the market for games is consistently growing. And you're seeing people who are going to buy one digital game every 6 months or something, right? As just their only engagement with games. So then that feeds that metric in that way versus people who are actually consistently buying games.
Right. And you also, and also, honestly, there's just so many other things that I just can't fully believe the statistics in, you know, where there's all those things where people are technically rebuying GTA 5 every time they buy those shark card bundles because they come with a copy. So I bet maybe 40% of all copies of GTA 5 are just, you know, like digital copies are basically not real. So
what is a digital copy also? Like, does that include something like Horizon Forbidden West's DLC that you can only buy digitally? Like, we don't know, right?
Yeah, does that include all the DLC stuff? Does that include free-to-play games? Like, are we saying, like, oh, digital sales are crazy because people keep downloading Fortnite? You know, what are the actual statistics? We can never know that because they're never going to feed that to us directly. You know, it's all just going to be obfuscated because it helps their agenda better. So I don't know what exactly to do. I mean, I suppose it would, you know, you just continue to push back against it. You would, I mean, I don't want to say GameStop, come help us, but you would hope that maybe stores would push back against it, but also a lot of stores have been pulling back from games as well, probably just because they've been getting these signals ahead of time, maybe, and they're just like, whatever, because, you know, they already sell all kinds of other stuff.
Pulling from stores was stuff like Xbox, and that's just because Xbox has consistently been insane, right? Like, we haven't seen a lot of Sony stuff being removed from stores. We haven't seen a lot of Nintendo stuff even being removed from stores necessarily, outside of specific niche cases where Nintendo is also insane.
Right.
But it's like, you know, how many Switch games do you think are sold daily at a Walmart, as an example? That's
right.
It's got to be a lot, right? Like,
I would imagine. I mean, I don't know exactly, but I mean, people still go to like opening nights, you know? Like I went to buy the Switch 2 the night that it came out, and the line was gigantic. And like, people are still pre-ordering games. They're still going out and buying physical copies. It all seems very forced just to control the flow of money, and it's a huge shame.
I saw a bunch of people saying, Sean Layden, who used to be high up in Sony, was talking about how this is absolutely 100% just a random. They looked at a spreadsheet once and then made a decision. Because that's how he was saying that Sony executives have broadly been operating for the last like 10 years.
Yeah.
And so people were pushing back against that and going, no, like this is calculated, this is considered. I disagree. I think he's right. I think this is 100% one of those things where an executive goes, how do we increase number? Okay, cool. This will definitely increase number, ignoring the material realities of it all, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, I hear so much talk about the PS6 or the Project Helix, whatever, fucking all these things. And I just think to myself, no one is going to buy those, though. Like, we're talking about a period of time where a console will cost over $1,000, probably. Like, people cannot afford that. I don't care. Like, I don't know what world, like, I know what world these people live in. They live in a world where they're talking to other tech people who have absurd amounts of income that they can just dump on something. But it's like, no, you tell a parent that to get a new console for their kid for Christmas and they go, yeah, it's all $1,200. Like, no.
It's $1,200 and you can't buy discs anymore.
Yeah, and there won't be any games for you to put under the tree with it or anything like that, right? Like, it's just fucking... But, like, yeah, I just, Sony is stupid. They have consistently been stupid. You look at stuff like what they did with Bungie, where they just like enabled a contract that basically and let leadership just take a ton of money and bounce, which is fucking crazy. And it's like, yeah, they don't know what they're doing. They pivot to PC ports, and then they do all that shit with Helldivers where they're like, you need the PS5 account for no fucking reason. And then
they're doing the same thing with Marvel Tokon. Like they already just announced that that game is just not going to be released in like 130 countries.
And it's just like, why? Literally, why?
And like fighting,
I know why.
Fighting games are a huge thing in a lot of countries that PlayStation doesn't exist officially in, you know? Like, you think about all the different like stories of like fucking fighting game players from like Pakistan, or, you know, like just all over the world, and like Sony doesn't have offices over there or whatever, and it's just like, well, yeah, now they're just not going to be able to play this fighting game that's probably going to be a big deal at big fighting game tournaments and all that, which are tournaments that they don't own it anymore, but like your company was in charge of Evo for a while. Like, platooned it together. Like, you had that company under your fucking. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. I really, really hope that something happens, that they decide against it, but I don't know. I mean,
well, let's see how Horizon Hunter's Gathering goes, and then maybe that will freak them out spiritually.
Yeah, because, I mean, I'd have to imagine that they're also probably just like, well, if we don't have a disc drive in this thing, it'll be $1,150 instead of $1,200.
Yeah.
I guess. And it's just like, no, the reason why, like, people aren't going to buy it because of the memory shit, because of the AI shit. It's just, it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating to exist in this world lately, especially as a fan of tech and the like, you know, it's just great. Yeah. It's fun. Do you want to talk about your news story now? Because it's also insane, but like,
this one is insane for a lot of reasons. I've looked a lot into this over the last week.
Right.
So Love and Deepspace, pivot, is an otome game, for lack of a better word. It's like, for people who don't know what that means, it's like a dating sim, very, let's say, traditionally straight woman focused. They're trying to.
It's for girls who like guys.
Yeah,
like,
it's for girls who like
guys usually.
But also, let's be real, like, a lot of guys end up playing it too. Like, that just happens naturally. These are whatever. Not to be essentialist in any way.
I mean, you know, like, fucking, like, you look online and, like, I want to say, like, a good, like, 60% of, like, big Nikkei fans are women, you know, and they're just like, you know, I love these half-naked, breasting, boobly women.
Yeah, and it's the same.
You know, and it's like, you know, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, you see it with other gacha games, too, where it's just like, I like these pretty girls, I'm going to cosplay as them, even if they're not, you know, or they're just lesbians, which is very common. But yeah. So Love and Deepspace has been very, very popular. Insanely popular. It's it's a spin-off of, what's it called? Mr. Love, which I know LV has talked about before in the past.
Yes.
And basically, so there are 5 guys that you date in that game, and they all have, like, it's very Uma Musume-esque to explain to you. I know you'd probably already know what this game is like, but it's very much like, hey, you know, you get outfit for character, and this adds routes to them and stuff like that you get to see new events and do different things with them, depending on what goes on. So they were going to add a 6th guy after quite some time. And the 6th guy is a werewolf guy.
Okay.
And, you know, he had been teased for a while, set up. His name is Valko. And he's like a werewolf CEO, which is something. But a lot of the characters in that are like that. So, you know, he's like kind of a bad boy, like, you know, weird. Like, he says some stuff like, you know, like, ooh, this is what happens when you let the wolf in, or whatever. Like, you know, this type of stuff that a straight girl goes squee at.
Sure.
So it was lambasted in China, but it's a confluence of events, sort of, rather than any one specific thing. So similar to the Steam backlash recently, right? Where there was that, what are they called? Oh my God, why can't I think of their name? The Australian organization that was purportedly feminist, but, you know, realistically Christian. It was like Riot Yell or something. I don't remember, but
whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, whatever their name was. It's similar to that, where there are fake feminist groups in China, basically going off about how, because he says stuff like "let the wolf in," like that's condoning assault. You know, like a bunch of things like cherry picking like numbers that are randomly scattered throughout the trailer to like point to like, this is actually a Japanese imperialist dog whistle. Like this is related to this or that from World War II and like all this other stuff that's like really weird and forced. And I was like thinking like, this is weird. And there are some base frustrations with the game. So this is definitely one of those flashpoint moments where a lot of people can latch on to like, yeah, fuck them, right? Which you see with a lot of gacha games consistently. But in this case also, I thought it was really funny. I saw a bunch of the high-level Love and Deepspace influencers were basically taking this opportunity to talk about how the real reason they're kind of pushing back against this is because Valco is a very fruity guy compared to some of the other guys. And they're going like, you need to take this opportunity in Fold, the company that's making it, and say that all of the men in Love and Deepspace are straight. I'm sick of this erosion of you know, cultural decency, etc., which has been a big issue in Chinese gacha game response for quite some time, where it's like, you know, Genshin Impact and okay, so the whole Hoyo suite, right? Like Honkai Impact is openly a Yuri game, and then they've sort of diluted it over time, but it's like fundamentally those are games that are fixated on the idea of creating Yuri stuff pretty consistently. And it's really odd to see the cultural backlash from like streamers, because it's like, I know we see that sometimes here, but it doesn't feel like, you know, like they're not hiring the streamer who's talking about like, we need to return to trad rights to market the game, right? Like they're just out there, whereas this seems to be like they hire those people, and it's like, but yeah, it's crazy because basically they canceled it in response to all the backlash in China. They canceled the 6th character that they were going to add soon. They have not said what they're going to replace that with their pipeline. Something similar happened recently where they had to reskin the entirety of a Honkai Star Rail zone because of the you know, encouraged let's say the encouragement from the Chinese government to stop making things that are based on Japan in wake of the Japanese prime minister going full, let's just say Nazi mode, honestly, frankly.
I mean, yeah, she's like buddies with Trump, so yeah.
Her hero is fucking Margaret Thatcher, so. But yeah, so it's they had to reformat an area to make it not Japan, and it was crazy. And I don't know if they're going to do something here, but like you have to think about how much work went into that, because this is a high budget dating sim, basically. Like this is like, we have fully modeled 3D characters, voice acting, like who knows how much voice acting, and just all that. And it's just like, what are they going to do with that? And like on the flip side, everyone else in the world, like I would say like everywhere, like Anime Expo was a flashpoint for this for sure, because you get that immediate fan creator interaction. But it's like you were seeing the fandoms for this game in other countries like Japan, Korea, America, Europe, and it's just like they're all being like, what the fuck are you doing? Like we all want to play that game. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? That's insane. And it's like there is like a back and forth of like, what is the truth? And the answer is, I generally don't trust anyone on social media ever.
Yeah.
And the problem with a lot of Chinese news stories that report on this is they're kind of taking it from the angle of like, maybe there is a legitimate reason why they're taking it down. And it's like, not really. It's like you're sourcing Weibo posts, right? And it's like, you could only get so far sourcing Weibo posts. Like, I don't know. It's
yeah,
such
it's like
insane
those
thing.
articles where they just take like 2 or 3 random tweets that are like,
Yeah.
People saying something insane and then being like, everyone's saying it, and it's like, no, they're not. These 3
Yeah.
people are, and they're stupid.
And it happens with China a lot, like consistently, because of the xenophobia we have in America specifically. And like, I mean, like all Western news, but like specifically in America, it's like you see these news stories go up that are like even positive stuff. Like there was that news story last year where it said like China is going to fine influencers who are like lying about stuff, and everyone went, oh, that's great, that's awesome. And then you read the article and it's like sourced by a Weibo post from an insane influencer who lies about stuff, going like, how could they do this to me? I've heard that they're going to do this. And it's like, cool, you sourced like an insane person's ramblings, basically. It's, yeah, I don't know. This is an insane thing though, just from every angle, because it's like, the reasonings for doing it are insane. The concept of like doing it, like, could you imagine if like all of a sudden, because all of the like people were going like, fuck, I hate a woman in God of War, they just ended like, all right, we're canceling it. Like, that'd be crazy.
Yeah,
but
it's fucked.
It's nuts. This is crazy. I can't believe it. And my heart is with all the women and guys out there who love that deep space.
All the people that want a hot CEO werewolf boy are not going to have that, and I feel for them.
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. It's not right. Yeah, I mean, I guess we just gotta wait and see what happens, because I would like for something nice to happen.
Yeah.
Just in general, please.
I was seeing there's another Love and Deepspace type clone, because the Chinese market is broadly iterative works, right? Off of each other, like Wuwa is after Genshin, and then Arcanite's Enfield is after Wuwa, and they're all like a line. And it's like the same thing but there was a spin-off that like when they like first teased Valko, because I guess he appears in the game like at some points or something earlier on, like they got the voice actor and everything for him to be in a different Love and Deepspace clone. And like everyone was like saying, like when this crazy stuff started happening, they were like, this game has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever now. Like if they just release the werewolf clone with the same VA and everything. Yeah, crazy stuff out there.
Well, at least gaming still happens out there.
It still happens.
It does.
I know you've been joyous over Deltarune recently, so you're like...
That is correct.
That's a spot of good in a lot of people right now.
I have had the brain worms. I don't really have anything new to say, but like basically every day I'll just be like walking around the house or whatever, like doing a chore, packing, etc., and then I'll just be like, oh shit, no, I've been having a Deltarune song just like playing in my head for the past little while, huh? Like today I was just like getting out of the shower and I was just like, oh fuck, like the entire time I was in there, Black Knife was just playing basically in my head and I just didn't even think about it. I was like, damn, okay. I'm scrubbing some crazy shit, I guess, huh? But yeah, I mean that's something that I guess I've been thinking about a lot, but the game that I've been playing, because I did indulge a smidge during the Steam sale. I don't know, is that still going on? It is. It's a few more days.
Yeah, until the 9th.
I did indulge a little bit. Maybe I'll hop back in for something else. I don't know. We'll see. But I only bought like 3 things. So I'll talk about 2 of them real quick, because one of them I actually haven't played, and then the other one is very short. I haven't finished it yet, though, but I am almost done with it. So there's those little Homestar Runner games that came out like a few years ago. There was the like little hide-and-seek Halloween game that they did. And then there's the Dangeresque game, where if you don't know, okay, I feel like trying to explain Homestar Runner concepts to people is a dangerous and fucked up
it's
task.
a dangerous game.
But basically, one of the main characters of Homestar Runner is a wrestleman named Strongbad, and he has a lot of alter egos, and one of his alter egos is basically like an 80s action cop named Dangeresque. And they made a small point-and-click game where you play as him, and
Which is technically the second one that they made, because there's also the other one.
Yeah, they did a Dangeresque episode for the Strong Bad Cool Game for Attractive People, but that was by Telltale, and this is just done by the Homestar Runner guys, the brothers chaps. Yeah.
Of Yo Gabba Gabba fame.
Yeah, Yo Gabba Gabba and Aqua Bats and the like. Yeah, no, I mean, it's basically just here's some jokes and gags while you're doing some little puzzles, you know? It's not anything that's like, oh my god, you should go run out and get it, even if you're a big Homestar Runner person. Like, I'm just like, it's fine, you know? Like, I still have one more, like, level to do, because I guess it's like 3 mysteries, quote unquote. Because they're just like little, like, they're just like one room, basically. They're just one room mystery things. But like all the interactions are funny. Like, one of the things you have to do is you have to convince the police chief that you solved the case, and one of the things to check off is that it needs to have a solved stamp put on the file, and so he doesn't have any ink to put the stamp in, so he finds old Chinese takeout and dunks it in the sweet and sour sauce. But the only stamp that he has says unsolved, so you have to stamp it so the un part is hanging off the side of the folder.
That's
like,
pretty good.
Yeah, like that's the kind of shit that you're doing in this game. So again, it's funny, it's cute. You can get it right now on sale for $4, which I think is worth it, especially because normally it's $8, so it's just half off for, you know, this little thing. I actually, okay, I did not know that this was actually something that was on the site originally. I did not know that.
Oh yeah, so it's like their other little adventure games and stuff they used to have.
Yeah, I didn't know that this was, because I definitely played a lot of the games on the site. I don't remember there being this Dangeresque game on there, but it says on the Steam page that this was on the website, but they redid the graphics and the animations and also have full voice acting now, which, again, you know, is great. So I would say that's worth $4. I would say it's worth $8, but you can get it for $4 right now, and you can also get the hide and seek game, which again I haven't played yet, but that is $1 right now. So like, that's probably not like a very massive game. It says you need 200 megabytes of space on there to play it. So yeah, I'm imagining that's a short little bite-sized adventure there, but it's $1. But the thing that I've been mostly playing is I've been going fucking ham. I've already played like 20 hours of it. Is Touhou Mystia's Izakaya. I don't know if you know this one.
The dungeon crawler? Or no, this is the restaurant management sim.
That's right. Yes, it is the restaurant management sim. It is by a Chinese developer, which I found out because there are multiple things that specifically say like, hey, we won the award for best Chinese game this year, and then they just won it like 3 years in a row because they kept putting out DLC, which I respect. I mean, they're still updating it, which is fucking crazy. This came out in 2021, and
some people just find their calling, you know, and they just want to keep at it.
The latest DLC came out in 2024, but they're still adding like some updates here and there, like new guests and stuff, and they I guess hired a team to make an anime version of it. I don't know if it's like a full length thing, but there's like a little like 2-minute teaser on the Steam page from October of last year. I don't know if they, you know, have said anything about that, but like, yeah, like I'm looking at this and it just says like, oh yeah, last year in September they released a roguelike mode. Like, what? Okay. I haven't seen any of that. Like, I haven't even interacted with anything like that yet. I've just been doing the restaurant management stuff. And yeah, it's the kind of like Diner Dashy kind of thing where you're getting a an order and you have to make it and then run it over, and you can add some extra ingredients to make it more to their liking. And then there's specific characters, and they're all like the Touhou girls that'll come in and be like, hey, like I want, like, usually if it's like a quote unquote normal person, they'll say exactly what they want. But like if Reimu comes in, she's just gonna be like, I'm fucking broke, give me something cheap. And you gotta like make something that fits her taste, where like, yes, it's gotta be cheap, but also it says on her profile, oh, she also likes, I don't know, like meat, or I don't know, she also likes stuff that's like premium quality. So if you can make it cheap but premium, then she'll love it, And then if they really love it, the Touhou characters like cast like a spell card, and it'll be like, oh, like Reimu like protects you from getting your combo broken like once, or other characters will like spawn extra ingredients for you or whatever. But then if you really fuck up their order and it's just a bunch of stuff that they hate, then they'll curse you, and so like it'll be like, oh, your movement speed's down, or everything that you make for the next like 5 orders is just fucked up, and like that kind of stuff. So it's pretty basic, but it's cute. It's got a lot of charm to it. I don't think that you need to like love Touhou to get into it, but I think it helps in that you're interacting with the characters, and part of it is also like creating bonds with them, and it's pretty basic stuff where you're not like hanging out with them, but it'll be like you go talk with them a little bit, and then eventually once their bond is up enough, then they'll be like, oh, hey, here's a new recipe that I can teach you. You learn that recipe, and then the next time they come in, you feed it to them. That's like a mission, So it's a pretty basic loop, but it's a very fun one, and I have been enjoying just sinking time into it and messing around with it. Like, there could probably be more to it, where like, maybe you could like decorate the restaurant or whatever, and there's some stuff that I could see them doing, but hey, maybe they did add that and I just haven't gotten to it yet. I don't know, because apparently there's a fucking roguelike mode, and there's not even like a thing where it says like, hey, press this to go to the roguelike mode. Like, they haven't even let me do that yet. So we will see. We're gonna find out together, I guess, because yeah, I'm still playing this. Like, I haven't even gotten to all the different like areas in the base game, because you start off in like the little yokai trail area, and then you go to the human village, and then you get like a rest. You open up a place near Reimu's shrine, and then I've gotten to that. But then the last 2 in the base game is there's one where you just open up a restaurant at the Scarlet Devil Mansion, which of course you have to include the Scarlet Devil Mansion. Everyone loves the Scarlet Devil Mansion.
Everyone, I've seen it in Lethal Company.
Exactly. And then the last one is just the Bamboo Forest of the Lost, which I don't know too much about that. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, they've just got a lot going on. I mean, it's also it's a very pretty game too. Like the pixel art's fantastic. There's a lot of like little cute things where like, because the main character Mystia, she's like a bird yokai. So part of it is she'll like randomly sing during the missions, or the cooking, when you're cooking, and you have to like hit the buttons to time to the singing, basically. Mm-hmm. And if you do that, then it'll pop extra bonuses like, oh, hey, you don't have to actually run the food out, like you can toss it to them, or they won't get impatient, and then you stack that, and if you stack it enough, then you go into like hyper mode, and you're like, oh shit, here we go, I'm powerful now, and nothing can stop me, and that's good. I am looking on the Steam Points shop right now, and they do have the emoticons are just a pumpkin, a piece of seaweed, a shiny mushroom, a shiny pufferfish, and then it says vegetarian chicken. It just looks like a raw chicken, but I guess it's vegetarian somehow.
Oh, okay.
I'll take their word for it, I guess. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I would recommend it to anyone who likes, like the diner kind of like management sim sort of dealio. If you like that kind of thing, I would say, yeah, definitely hop on it. And yeah, like I don't even think I'm at the point where I'm like doing late game stuff. I'm just like I think I'm still like near the beginning, and there's 5 whole goddamn DLCs after that. So that's what I've been playing. Rose, what about
Time
you?
for the year of Touhou.
I mean, okay, sure.
I haven't been doing anything. I'm glad that you're enjoying that, because I've seen some people I know enjoy it, and I've seen others not enjoy it. And it seems like
Sure.
it's just a game that is doing what it wants to do, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny that a lot of gacha games have just ripped it off as they do, and
Yeah.
just thrown it in as a mini game or whatever.
Mhm.
What have I been doing? What the hell? So I've only played a little bit of a bunch of stuff. Realistically, I've kind of been I've had a migraine for a while. It finally ended like a couple days ago.
That's
So
good.
I'm like, oh, thank God. Like I had like a 3-weeker or something. So I wasn't playing that many games. I just play like an hour or something and then take a break and then do something else. I played a lot of Marathon, of course, but there's not much to say there. But yeah, here's what I've been doing. So first, I've been playing a bunch of Wuthering Waves, which I got back into because they were doing the Edge Runners, Cyberpunk Edge Runners collaboration.
Okay.
Where they just added the cyberpunk map to the game. And then they added Lucy and Rebecca. And I've just been enjoying that game, honestly. As someone who plays a lot of these gacha games and stuff like that, it's really refreshing to have one where it's like actually has some degree of skill expression and choreography, because these are people who the Kuro who makes this made Punishing Gray Raven, which is very character action game light. And this is even more so in that direction of like, you know, timing attacks for parries in a way that is more like a deflect, like what so it's not a default parry. It's like the type of parry you do when Dante hits his sword at the exact time the enemy is at a certain part of their attack, and then it deflects it, you know what I'm talking about in Devil May Cry?
Yeah.
Like those sort of deflect parries.
So it's not like a Royal Guard kind of thing. It's
No, it's like a just like a redirection, like clunk. You get a big clunk hit stop type thing going. This is a game that has that. It has like, you know, dodge offset from Bayonetta, stuff like that you can do.
Of course.
That's pretty fun. And I think like that is coupled with they have understood the pace of their combat is super fast, so they need to make the way that you engage with their open world exploration super fast too. So they have added, since the last time I played, they added a motorcycle and the ability to fly everywhere, like super fast, like on a jet glider. And all that feels really good. It solved a lot of my issues with the base game, which was the same issues I have with Genshin Impact, which is a game that I enjoy, but they were very slow paced. They're games where like they have the Breath of the Wild climbing, and you're going to very slowly climb up a fucking, you know, cliffside, right? And that's going to be like half the gameplay. Whereas with this, it's like a lot more like now, like you're grappling, you're jetting, you're fucking like sliding and doing all this other crazy shit, which matches like the tone of what you're doing in the combat, right? The combat is super fast and like, you know, deliberate and hit stoppy. So the way you engage with the world should also be that. Which is, you know, I just wrote that article about dissonance. And I think like this is a good example of like, all right, cool. Like that's really neat that they figured it out. On the flip side, though, it is still a live service / gacha game. So it has the issues of, you know, events are constantly happening, right? And then in stuff like Genshin, they just remove the events after they're done, which has always been crazy to me. Fate Go does the same thing, right? Like it's like, oh, the event window ended, it's gone now. But Wuthering Waves does an insane thing where it keeps pretty much all of their events that have stories attached to them, or like elaborate mini games, and then slowly opens them up to you as you play through the game. The thing that is insane to me is that even though there is clearly like a, you know, these came out in X patch, Y patch or whatever, and they could sort of like have you go through the main story and then unlock these events in like a flag based system, right? Like, oh, you finished the 1.1 patch story, so now here's the 1.1 event or something like that, right?
Right.
It seems to just be completely random So you will have these experiences where you're going through the base 1.0 story experience, which is quite bad. That was always my opinion when I played it when it came out, and they haven't really touched it up. You have a lot of like really amateur voice acting, really rough writing because they hadn't hired a main writer yet and stuff like that. And you go from that to like a late game event where all of a sudden all the voice acting is really good, and like you have like people with accents and like to represent the region they're from, and like full sentences that make sense, and then you go right back to broken English, like machine translated Chinese. Like it's
Weird.
It's so weird. And also like they'll talk about story events as if they have happened when you have not done them, because they're just unlocking them completely randomly.
Huh.
It's really weird, and I could see how it would be a nightmare for people trying it out, but I've actually been enjoying it as a sort of thing I'm doing in bed. My wife's dad gave us his iPad Pro recently that he had lying around, and
All right.
I've been using that for these games, and it runs really well with all that stuff. So it's nice to just set it up on bed. I can hook up a controller with Bluetooth, and just play it chill style.
Sure.
It's nice to have one of those games where it's like you sort of learn how it works. So then which is like my thing with Marathon to some degree, right? It's like that's a game that I am able to play really easily, even when I have like a headache or something, because it's like I did the work of learning it. So now it's just like chilling.
Right. I mean, I think it's a little crazy for you to say the same thing about a mobile gacha game about friggin' Marathon, where everyone is so stressed out playing Marathon, and you're just like,
well, I was too
right.
for a while, and then it's like now I understand how everything works and know the things. So I'm like, hey. But it's like, yeah, this is much more easier than that, to be clear. Like, obviously, like, but this is more analogous to like Final Fantasy 14 for me, right? Like, where that's a game that I just log in and I'll like do something with friends and then pop out or something. Like, I can do it very easy, chill style. I don't have to make a big deal of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been doing that. The Cyberpunk stuff's really funny. Also, they added Atom Smasher as a boss to the game. And then they also kept in Rebecca's censorship beeps when she talks. So I was pretty happy with that.
That's always good.
But yeah, other than that, playing a bunch of Mina the Hollower. Have you played that at all yet?
No, not at all. I don't own it. I don't think. I don't know, because I am in a Steam family plan. Maybe there's a chance that I might just. Okay, no, I do not have access to Mina the Hollower, so no.
It's pretty good. I really like it. I think it's
sure.
It's a very the thing that has won me over the further I get in is I was talking with Lily's wife about this, and she brought up how every like little screen in that game has like something insane hidden in it that if you just like engage with it, you can sort of see, and like it makes things consistently feel fresh, which is really nice. And it's super true, because it's like I have gone back to, just areas of the town and done something weird in that game. And then it just, so example, there's a woman crying on a bench in the game in the town plaza. And on the other side of like a little balcony, there's a guy with a scrunched up giant nose saying like, "Oh, I wish I could show her how I feel." And what you can do with that guy is you can if you burrow under the ground and then bounce up to scare him, it shoots his nose out to a flower and gets a flower stuck on his nose. Then you scare him again to retract it, move him over near the woman again, and then shoot his nose out to make flowers go to her. And then that's like an insane little thing you can just discover by like nothing in the game tells you to do this. Nothing is conveyed unless you accidentally burrow underneath him and jump up and scare him to see his nose go out.
Okay.
But also, on top of that, you can also then put him somewhere else and scare him and make his nose shoot out and then climb on his nose like a ladder off the screen to access like a treasure chest on another screen that you couldn't get to otherwise. And it's just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? This is insane. And every screen is like that. It's just full of these like not super hard and not like, oh, you're going to be rewarded with something crazy if you do this one weird thing. It's just like, like, hey, you're going to get some money or something like that for doing this weird thing and engaging with our world and our mechanics. And I think that's really cool. There's just, very charming game. Really enjoying it. I'm about halfway through, if not a little more, because I've been trying to go for 100%. I was really frustrated, and I might have said this the week it came out on the podcast, I can't remember, that there was no map. Now that I'm further in, there is a map. It's just not a screen-by-screen map. And
okay, what is it then?
So it's a map that shows all the zones, and it will tell you if you have found everything in the zone. Once you have beaten the zone, as it were. So that solved my problem immediately, because these are not huge, massive zones. These are like zones made up of, like, let's say 10 to 15 screens. Like in Zelda GBC style. And it's like, okay, so I know now, I have like there's a checklist thing or whatever. Like it'll be like, hey, you got all the trinkets here. You got all the fish here. You got all the whatever here. And then you can sort of figure out what you're missing and then go, oh, I understand. I remember what I missed there now. And it sort of encourages exploration without like feeling like you're tied to the idea of filling out the map. And because you don't have a normal map that's tile by tile, that means they can hide things in a way more fun way. Because it really does feel like it is a game that rewards you for engaging with that core mechanic of digging all everywhere. And also just like thinking, I should be able to interact with this. And 90% of the time you just can't, which is really cool for a retro-inspired game. It's really neat. I hope they make DLC or something for that game, because I think it's really, really good. And I think like it feels great to play, which is something Shovel Knight was also had. Like I remember going to PAX East, and when they were right before they announced the Shovel Knight thing, and talking to them at their booth because they had the demo, and them just being like, yeah, we based this whole thing off of Link's down B from Smash or whatever. Where he does the sword. And I was like, all right, like that shows that you liked something a lot and you wanted to make a game out of it.
It's like, I bet that like that, and then maybe someone went like, hey, this is also a lot like DuckTales, and then they probably checked out DuckTales and went, like, oh fuck, okay. Yeah. So
but yeah, great game. The other things I have been doing is I started up Zero Parades for Dead Spies. Which is
I'm very curious about this, because there are so many people very, very adamantly against this game existing at all. But also I've been seeing people that have given it a shot that have walked away from it saying, no, actually, it's very good. But I've seen just as many people walking away from it being like, no, actually, this sucks ass. So I would like to hear from you, because I do trust your opinion. How are you feeling about this as someone who ostensibly likes Disco Elysium, but also has a good amount of criticisms for it as well?
Yeah, so like, because my problems with Disco Elysium to some degree, but it is also one of my favorite games, right? Like, it is a game that I love the writing style of, the prose, the setup, everything.
Yeah, I'm like in the same boat as you, basically, where it's like, I basically just agree with you for the most part about it, where I just think that it's solid. It's got some, it could be better at some aspects, but for the most part, it's incredible.
It just needed less dirtbag leftists, right? Energy, and then it would be like perfect. But the heart is still there.
Yes.
I would say this is nearly identical to Disco Elysium, except you play as a woman, so there is less misogyny directed in a thoughtless manner and more in a thoughtful manner.
Okay.
Like, there are going to be quips about like institutionalized misogyny and stuff like that.
Right.
And stuff as you play as that main character. So I have only played a little bit. I've only played like about an hour and a half or so. But immediately the prose is right there. Like, I don't know if it's the localizers like doing a really fantastic job. I don't know like not that they don't speak English, because I know that they do over at Touhou mainly, and the writers do, but like whoever they work on to like really nail the tone is like, holy shit, it's so good. It's so good. It's just like Disco Elysium's best parts. They have all the same systems. Like, Shivers was something I talk about with Disco Elysium a lot. That was my favorite part of that game, where it's like you had these extrasensory. It's trying to replicate that feeling you have when you're like sort of like meditating on your own in the city and thinking like on a macro level, and then trying to like narrow down a relation to something else with a degree of like precognition, almost to some degree, but just sort of like those gut feelings they try to capture.
Okay.
Was what Shivers was kind of, which I really liked. And they have that in this immediately, and you can just get those like vibes, which is really good for a spy game. I think that works really well for them. But they also have like, so all of the skills are not like, electrochemistry and stuff like that were very tied to that specific character in Disco Elysium. They have echoes of them for sure, but it is fundamentally like the different types of spy there are the things you can take. And then there are like funny ones like, about X-File stuff, basically, or whatever, is like one of the options. So you could just drop stuff like that or whatever. But a lot of them are, a lot of these skills and stuff are things like authoritarianism, right? You understand empirically how the system that manufactures spies works, and how to like leverage that sense of nationalism and like fear of the man, quote unquote, in talking to other people who are like engaged in subterfuge, which I think is really cool. Yeah. So like I've done a very charisma based build. You can do like a physical based build. You can do like people or whatever type build. But I did one where it's like you sort of know places, so you can come across as super well read in conversation without being actually super smart.
Okay.
Which I really like as like a charisma build, because that sort of does capture like what succeeds in a charismatic individual, right? Like they just know a lot, but they don't necessarily know everything about it, which is another angle you could take. But I really liked how this game opened versus Disco Elysium, because Disco Elysium opens with you just alone in that room, right? And you have to figure out what the hell's going on and get outside and then like meet up with Kim and whatever and figure out what the hell's going on and who this character is. They do a much better job of explaining the background for this character right from the get-go, because the conceit is basically you are a spy that fucked up big time in like 91, and now it's like 2003, and you've inexplicably been called back into like do a job. So you get to sort of like imply things about your backstory as you're going, like about like how you feel about it, what you think happened, what might be like the circumstances, the people involved, etc. But you have that basis for who this character is in this world immediately, which is a nice contrast to Disco Elysium. Because there's nothing wrong with Disco Elysium startup, but it is, if they had done it again, right, it would be very like, all right, yeah. And your handler is the one who is catatonic, and you can't communicate with them at all, so you can't figure out what your mission is. Okay. So the start of this game is basically you waking up with this guy, and he's catatonic, he's not wearing any pants, and you're like, what the hell happened to him? And you can do a bunch of things to him to try to figure out, like, you can like pickpocket him, look around, like look through all of his stuff, things around. But I had the ability to leverage like state training stuff in the thing. So it was like, hey, the state trained you that there was something you could do when someone's like this, when they can't talk or they don't seem like to be responsive, and they're like, but they're like eyes are open and stuff like that. And it's just like, what do you do? And it's like, you like grab them and like manipulate their nerves or something. Okay. So it's like, you're like doing like weird things to him, and then all of a sudden he's not talking still, but he's going like, in response to everything you say. Okay. So now your character just starts role-playing, potentially as one of the options, as if they are giving them orders and commands. Okay. Which I really liked. And you have a bunch of angles of like where you can go from there because you have to figure out what the hell your mission was. You figure out like, you know, this guy was a sock salesman as his cover for the state or whatever. So it's like, do you talk to the people involved with his sock selling? Like, does that even matter? Is that purely his cover, or is that how he gets information? Like, should you even get involved with that? Should you talk to the teenage girls outside who are like, oh, we saw that, and they just won't explain like further what's going on? Like, should you do X, Y, Z? It has the same thing of Disco Elysium where you get like a very like, what the hell is going on and how do I solve it? But it's a completely different tone that I think works.
Okay.
And like, I obviously have my bias of it is a woman main character, so it's a lot better because you're like, when you fuck up, it feels a lot more naturalistic instead of fixating on the idea that if a man fucks up socially, it's going to be embarrassed in front of a woman, right? Which I just find to be trite.
Sure.
Because not that that's like not a thing, right? Like that's a thing everyone experiences where it's like they fuck up looking cool, but it's like, this is you literally fuck up looking cool. You don't just start descending into some weird rant about like tits or something like Disco Elysium often has. Like,
sure.
It just seems a lot more thoughtful about a lot of stuff, which makes sense given the things you hear negatively about the old leadership of Zoom.
Yeah.
But yeah, really cool game so far. I'm really interested in it. The thing is it felt like, as different as I said it is still like putting on a glove again, like that fits just right. Like the tone, the visuals, the audio, everything for everything just is like chef's kiss. Like if more visual novel type stories could deliver their stuff like in the really good way this does, and I know that's because this is probably had a large budget comparatively and like, you know, a bunch of workers and stuff like that, but it is unbelievable how like pleasing it is to engage with the world of this game and how it like interests you and keep going into continuing to go onwards in it and figure out what the hell's going on. The way they're able to leverage fake politics also similar to Disco Elysium, really interesting. Really, really fun. I think that's the thing that we notice so often failing in games, right? Is fake politics. They just devolve into like racism is bad, or like, you know, like, wow, the rich are evil, but they might have a point. And like Disco Elysium was so thoughtful from a leftist perspective in the way that it was humanizing even its more villainous characters. Like I always think of the ultra liberal woman. Fantastic character in that game. And it's like, this has a lot of that in it immediately. Like you're seeing a lot of like humanity in the actions. I think in Disco Elysium, when you can, you know, gradually piece together that one guy is gay in that game or whatever, even though it's pretty obvious, but it's like, just like the way he talks about his Sunday friend and stuff like that. It's just like, there's a ton of stuff like that in this game. So if you liked that, I really recommend trying it and going in with an open mind. I know that people watched that documentary and came away with like, oh, the money men are evil, but it's like, there are creatives underneath those money men. To be clear, like, this isn't just a game being made by the money men. This is being made by some people that worked on Disco Elysium, by people who are inspired by Disco Elysium.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's the same thing that where I keep not like having like big drawn out arguments, but where I feel for the devs of games or other creators who are working at companies where, you know, the producers out there shilling AI when the actual workers are probably not using it or whatever, you know, like the people that are actually making this game probably have nothing to do with all the bad stuff that was reported on that, and it's a huge shame that, you know, that their names kind of have to be by proxy dragged through the mud as well, and it's just like... Right,
like, I mean, we talked about it with Expedition, right, where it was like Expedition 33, we had the money man talking about AI, and it's like, yeah, of course the money man who does the money schmoozing with all the stupid rich people is talking about AI being good, but like...
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, and people, and again, I don't fully blame everybody for being pissy about it, but like, I still see people being like, Expedition 33 opened the door for all these other devs to make excuses about using AI. And again, like, they were just like, yeah, we fucked around with it when it first came out. Like, everyone else did. Like, literally everyone was fucking around with it. And then once they learned it was bad, they stopped. They just happened to leave something in on accident, like one thing. They got rid of it immediately, and they weren't like, "Oh, well, it's fine that we could have kept it in." It was just like, no, it was old and
they
bad.
Didn't double down or something. That's what always got me. Is they literally like, I don't know.
And it's like, yeah, there's other studios that are using that excuse, but like, they came up with it because it was correct, it was true for them, and then everyone else is just using it. It's just like,
one of my biggest things is just I don't understand how people don't understand. Have you never worked on a group project where one member of your group just doesn't give a fuck and just does something completely half-assed, which is what I think about all the time. Like Crimson Desert recently had the same thing happen to it, where it was like one castle had AI paintings everywhere. Just the whole castle in that game. And then, like, that's because the game was in development for, like, fucking 9 years. And, like, they probably just had some shitty contractor just do it, right? Like,
right.
Who knows? But it's like they instantly removed it when they found out because they probably just didn't do enough of a thorough check on it because they were just rushing that game out the door, as obvious from the way they're updating it right now.
Yeah.
But it's like the rhetoric then becomes, this is an AI game.
That everyone involved has signed off on it. And it's like, no.
That's ridiculous and so insulting to me. It's so degrading to the art of creation that people are working super hard on cultivating every day. Like,
Like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I really don't want those people to suffer for the sins of a bunch of shitheads, but it's also like, but also like, how are we supposed to, fight back against those shitheads if you're not pushing against stuff that has that content in it? It's just like, I don't know, but at the very least, I want to be more nuanced about it instead of just being like, if you played Expedition 33, chop off your hands now.
Yeah.
Like.
It's hard to seek nuance in a culture of extremes because it is like the narrative is always going to be like you want to fight back an extreme with an extreme, right? Like you want to fight back against that evil thing with an equal force of condemnation, but it's like
because you want it to go away, and
you want it to go away. Yeah, you want it to end. You want things to be better.
And I agree,
but
I do want it to go away.
But it is one of those things where it's like, as much as people hate to say it, like there is nuance. There is, you shouldn't throw literally don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. Like it is, we need to understand these things because the evil continually persists out of confusion and misunderstanding more than anything. And I think education and understanding why things are the way they are is the way you consistently overcome it. Not through just firing back with a laser that says no. But I worry that sounds centrist, but trust me, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just, in some cases like this, you literally have to think more. You can't just, you have to think more. You just have to think more. Otherwise, you're going to end up hurting things because you misunderstand how they work or why. But yeah. So I understand why people watched that documentary for this game, for Disco Elysium's whole thing, and came away like, oh god, fuck this. But it's like none of the creators involved have boycotted this. None of the, like, there has been no things. If anything, there's been well wishes and stuff like that. I've seen from a couple. Like, just give it a try. I think it's really interesting. I think if you like Disco Elysium, you'll probably like this. I'm curious to see how I feel about it as it continues to go on, but I would be shocked if it suddenly goes, whoa, wow, this sucks out of nowhere. Like it so far from the short amount I have played, I have just been like very enamored with it. It feels the hardest thing to nail with a game is prose when you're talking about writing. specifically, like for visual novels and translations. Like we talked about this multiple times, but I truly believe that one of the big reasons that Digimon game was so popular, Time Stranger, was because they had localizers who were able to nail like a comprehensible prose versus the early Cyber Sleuth games that were just MTL nightmare.
I mean, original Cyber Sleuth was absolutely MTL. Hacker's Memory was actually translated by a human being, and
people like that, but the well had been poisoned, right?
Yeah.
Is the problem?
Yeah.
Whereas something fresh like that, but I think absolutely nailed 100%. The only thing that I have disliked, and I don't fully dislike it, it's just I'm not used to it. I played Disco Elysium before they had voice acting. And they used to just do the, one line every 600 lines. And I was like, when that happened, I was like, Kino alert. This is Kim just said something. Whew, be still, my heart, And this game, having the full voice acting, like the final cut of Disco Elysium, is making me go, huh? What? Like every time people are talking nonstop, I'm like, wait, what? Is it ever going to end?
I played through Disco with the full voice acting, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that quite a bit.
I'm sure it seemed very well done.
Mm-hmm.
But
anything else?
One last thing that I'm doing is me and my girlfriend started playing the seamless co-op mode for Elden Ring with the Convergence mod, which just had a big update for it. The Convergence mod is an overhaul mod that basically goes through Elden Ring, fills in a bunch of the blank, empty locations with more interesting stuff, changes the progression path to be a little more interesting, creates actual starting classes with different starting zones and abilities and kits and stuff like that. Lets you get access to fun things a little sooner, so you don't have to wait the whole game to get your fun swords and stuff. And just adds a bunch of bosses and stuff like that team made with custom music and everything. So far, I've been very impressed with it. I've only done the first area of the game, but there was this castle in the start of Elden Ring that you can go to pretty quickly, just going down south. And it's been overrun by beastmen, okay? And you just go through the castle that's like 5 rooms, and then you just fight a big beast man, and they never talk about the beast men ever again.
Okay.
In this mod, they made the castle a whole castle, so you climb up the castle and go around it and like through it and in it and like all the stuff, and like there are various factions inside the castle that reflect like what that game world is like, represented in different sections of it. They made it so that there's like multiple levels to the Beastmen engagement outside of that one fight. And stuff like that. They added a custom boss that is like a hybrid of like a guy and a beast man, so that it shows like it feeds off of the lore that they've pre-established and stuff like that. And then they added a bunch of weapons and skills that reflect like what makes the most sense for that section of the map to be in. And it just felt so much more engaging than base Elden Ring, where consistently my problem with Elden Ring was there's not enough of that curated From Software design, which is what I have always come to their games for. Like Kingsfield is a series of dungeon crawlers where you are going through literally, a designed labyrinth, right? Like a very cohesive and considered thing. And then it's the same thing with Dark Souls. Dark Souls is a continuous open world. All those games are. And they are all thoughtfully designed areas that feed one into another. And then Elden Ring is this fucking game where you just go through a giant empty field, and it drives me insane.
Right.
And then you would get to these very half-assed buildings that exist purely to like be a vista in the distance for the most part, because of the open world design. And this solves that by adding that depth and nuance that I have come to expect from Software's historical design. And it's very clearly fan stuff, right? Like a lot of the stuff is very like, oh, you're doing the cool thing that looks cool, but it is still cool is the thing. And especially for a revisit of this game, it is a lot more interesting than revisiting normal Elden Ring, which is very much a game to me similar to Breath of the Wild, where it shows all its tricks the first time you play it, and then personally, I just never wanted to play it again. So it's cool. Like, the fact that I could be a blood mage right now and get a bunch of moves that bosses in the game have done that weren't in the game inexplicably beforehand is really cool. And the fact that I can start out with that instead of having to like do this thing that was always my problem with the Souls games at large, where it's like you can go for a build, but you're not going to see the reality of that build until 10 plus hours in. And Elden Ring was worse, because Elden Ring was like 50 plus hours in because of the scope of that world. So it's like, it's really cool to be able to start and be like, yeah, I'm going to be a Frost Witch. I'm going to be the Blood Mage. I'm going to be do madness stuff right from the get-go and not have to wait until the madness area 3/4 of the way through the game to get the cool thing. You know, like I get like a weaker, more interesting version of it that I can use on bosses, because they also reworked bosses so they're not just Persona style bosses where they're immune to everything. It's fun. It's cool. I'm really enjoying it, and it was a pain in the ass to get it all working, but it does work. There's no bugs or anything. Like, you can play the seamless co-op mode with it, which is really cool, and I really like that. So I've just been enjoying that. It's making me appreciate the stronger aspects of Elden Ring's design when they remove all the bad parts.
All right. Well, it's good to know that there's all kinds of badass ways that people are fucking around with games that are frustrating sometimes, you know?
Mods are awesome, is the thing.
Mods are awesome.
I love overhaul mods, or not even just overhaul mods, but like I keep thinking of like dipping into that Ocarina fan game scene more.
Right.
Because when they made
ROM
that decompile,
hacks.
when they did the decompilation for Banjo-Kazooie, I saw like, oh, there's a bunch of Banjo-Kazooie fan games that you can just load up into this. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then I saw like, wait, Ocarina of Time also has a decompilation, and it also has like a million fan games you can play through that thing. And I was like,
Yeah.
But I think my current plans are, let me know if this sounds insane, John. I'm going to play the PS2 Castlevanias.
Okay. I mean, you know, that's interesting, but is there a specific reason why, or are you just like to measure my abilities?
I saw art of like Leon Belmont, I think it is, from the Darkness one or whatever, and he had like a cool dragon shirt on and like a whip, and I was like, oh man, that looks so fucking cool though.
That's fair.
And I also, Lily just wrote that whole thing about PS2 games she was looking at, and then I was thinking like, PS2 is beautiful.
You just want to play some weird ass PS2 games. You know what?
And I was like, I've never played these, and I should give them a try. They look fucking cool is the thing. One of them does, at least. I don't know about both of them, but
yeah.
You know, I'm a Lords of Shadow defender, so I'm probably up for anything.
Yeah. All right. Good to hear. Good to know. All that and all that. Well, we don't have any questions this week. That's okay. We got a bunch of them. But that does mean that we are pretty much all wrapped up. Rose, is there anything else that you want to bring up before we ship off?
No, I've just kind of been chilling. I'm working on a Saros review right now. Okay. That'll be up at some point, but I've been struggling. I mean, I had the migraine, so that was the big thing stopping me, but I'm just struggling trying to figure out not to spoil the review, but I have some disappointments with that game, even though I probably like it. But it ended up feeling very much like a nothing game to me by the end, even though it is very artistically driven and interesting. So I'm trying to figure that out. That's like all. I don't know. I haven't been doing that much. I've just been like marathoning.
You've been on a marathon of marathon. I think that's
damn right.
It's understandable. I would love to play some more. You know, I bought Marathon, and I would like to play more Marathon.
I've enjoyed playing it with you and Lily. It's been really great.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, yeah, I mean, once we're done, I'm probably gonna just hop back onto some Mystia for a little bit before I go to bed. So I've been going to sleep early, and I've been packing. Oh my god, yeah, I have to move in like a week.
Oh boy.
I move out in a week, so I gotta get on that.
And
I
you're the
have a good.
collector.
Yeah, look, as much as I love my game collection, when you have to move, it's a little difficult, okay? I do have to basically get a giant one full like one of the one extra large box for all of my games. So, you know, that is that. I have like all my
I
collector's editions packed up already, which is nice, but
I doubt you'll
yeah.
run into this issue, but a funny thing I loved hearing one time was Vinny Caravella when he was talking about how he finally finished working on his basement so it could be lived in or whatever, and he could unpack all his stuff from pre-move. And it had all his collectibles and stuff, was just the overwhelming shame he felt at just how much he had. And I hope that doesn't happen to you, where it's just like you start unpacking and you're like, oh God, how many collector's editions? Oh no.
No, I mean, I only have enough collector's editions to fill like one square of one bookshelf so far. I mean, I might get more in the future, but like right now it's just like that basically. And then, well, okay, that's not true because I do have, it's that. No, it's because it's that. And then I also have the Xenoblade one separately because there was another like shelf area that was just my Xenoblade stuff. So that had, because I have the collector's edition of 1 and 3. I don't have 2 or X, but I have the 1 and 3 like Switch collector's editions. So there's that, I guess. But then like I was like, oh, I put all the amiibo there and the soundtracks, and I have like that Cosmos book that the like character designer did. And I have a Japanese copy of Xenosaga 3 that I put there because, I don't know if I'm ever going to have an English copy, but I have the Japanese version. A friend of mine bought that for me, and that was very kind of them. But yeah, I'm not feeling any kind of like, oh God, why do I have this about like anything, which is nice. I do need to go through my clothes. That is something that I am probably going to get rid of some stuff because I think a good like half of the clothes that I have just don't fit me anymore. Were like clothes that I have had since like high school, where it's like it's not even because I've like put on or lost weight. Like I have put on weight over the years, and I have also lost some recently, but it's like I should maybe get rid of shirts and pants that I've had from like what 10 years ago, like very, very old that I'm never going to wear ever again. So, I'm not just going to like toss them if they're still like in good condition. Like that can be donated, but if I've got stuff that's all ripped up, I'll just get rid of it. That is like the big thing that I have to like honestly, that is the big thing that I have to do is go through my clothes. Everything else is just like I just need to put it in a box so it can be brought to the new place. The new place is like 15 minutes away, so it's not going to be anything crazy. It's just pick it up, put it over. But yeah, I have to go through my clothes, and there's like some other things probably over in my closet. I think I have some stuff that I just kind of shoved in there. I could probably get rid of some stuff in there, but yeah, that'll be the next week. Is going through all that. But like, yeah, like I look at the collector's editions and the figures and, my games and all that. And it's like, I don't want to get rid of pretty much any of this stuff. Like maybe I will kind of be like, oh, hey, this game sucks ass and I don't want to look at it anymore. Maybe, but whatever. We'll figure it out. We have time. Especially because, again, like, I'm moving 15 minutes away, and it's not like I'm moving on bad terms with my roommates. Like, they're, like, and this is their house. So, like, if I leave anything, like, they've all been like, yeah, if you leave anything, we'll just drive it over, or, I mean, I'm still gonna hang out with them. Like, we've been, talking about, like, hey, we should, hang out, like, go out to eat once a week or something. Like, that's what we're gonna try to do. So, if I leave something, they can hand it to me in the fucking Outback Steakhouse parking lot or something. I don't fucking know. But no, that should be it. Yeah, I don't know when I'll have something. I mean, like I said, I've been getting ready to move, so maybe once I moved in, I'll try to figure out writing something like Like my therapist has been getting on my ass about it too. I've been like, you know how you get people get on reasonably get on you to be like, hey, you should do stuff that makes you happy. And writing makes me happy. But I'm also like, I'm busy. I'll get to it when I get to it. And it's like, oh, okay, sure. Like nobody's like being shitty about it, but I'm just like, I'm putting stuff away. Give me a minute. Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, that's why I'm playing something like the Mystia game, because it's just like, I'm just, it's not taxing. It's just gameplay. That's what I need right now. I need like an arcade. And
like I said, that was the same thing with Miyamoto, right? Like that's why I started playing it again, because it was very easy to play, very easy to just chill and do.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that should do it. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We should be back with another episode of the Gamesline podcast next week. Because I'll still be here in here on Sunday. I mean, I should have internet and everything set up in my new place, like, pretty immediately, but I don't want to promise anything just in case something happens, but I'm sure that someone else can host. We could figure something out if I'm not there, but I will try my best to be here on the next week, on that Sunday. But also Classic Game Fest. Classic Game Fest is at the end of the month, but I don't know if I'm going to go all 3 days, because I might not want to go on Sunday, because that might be kind of slow. But also I might want to go on Sunday to try to get some deals. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, yes, gaming will occur, and we will be back soon with another episode of the Gamesline podcast. Have a oh crap! No, I didn't tell everybody all the special stuff that you can do. Oh my goodness, no. We'll be back, of course, but also if you want to follow along, we have our website, Gamesline.net. And if you want to follow us on social media, it's Blue Sky, Gamesline.net as well on there. And we have our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@TheGamesline, where the podcast actually gets uploaded there too, the audio, which is nice. We have our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/GameslineTV, which we do stuff on there here and there, but Lorelai's been trying to do the monthly guest stream podcasts, so we're gonna have that at least. And then if you want to support us monetarily, it's patreon.com/Gamesline. Join our Discord server, the GameZone.zone, if you want to send in questions to the podcast or otherwise hang out. Folks have been hanging out in there lately. It's cool to see. I like that. I like to see it. And thank you to Melt Channel's Magic Circuit for our theme song Crush off of the album Magic is Real. If you want to listen to their stuff, it's meltchannel.bandcamp.com or magic-circuit.bandcamp.com. And I always recommend that you buy music on Bandcamp Friday, because that's when they get the biggest slice of the pie, as it were. Rose, where can people find you?
Over at Blue Sky, Fata Morgana, at bsky.social.com, whatever. And then twitch.tv/Curry Draco. I've been trying to... construction is almost over. Mm. I did one stream. I can probably do more soon, hopefully, ideally.
Good to hear. And you can find me at john.gamesline.net on Blue Sky. And that'll do it. Yes, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. We'll be back soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.